One of the things that's coming up in the next year, 2026, that a lot of people are excited about is in a place where Saturn is known to be quite uncomfortable. In fact, he's called fallen here in the ancient tradition.
The original agreement about how to live in harmony with the land. History was already beginning to be rewritten in favor of Jupiter. And so I think that Saturn in Aries is a wonderful thing in many ways. Yes, I do. Aries is the first sign. It's the most reverence for life. It's the bulb that pushes its way through frozen soil to bring us life every spring.
Lunatic astrology.
So I've just been in the so-called green room talking with Katherine, and I thought we'd never shut up. I think I met a soul sister in the metaphysical intuitive world who also has been astrologically practicing, learning, and discovering everything she needs to know about astrology since, 66 years already, including having the chance to interact with one of the United States presidents as an advisory role. And she's also really just fun to listen to. She's a basket of wisdom and knowledge, and she's really leaned into Saturn and rewilding Saturn, as well as the understanding of how our dreams and magic and alchemy interface with the astrology of our sky. So, hey, very much glad to have you, Katherine.
Delighted to be here. Over the moon.
Me too. Me too. It's so much fun to talk with you. So one of the things that's coming up in the next year, 2026, that a lot of people are excited about is Saturn's once every 29 and a half year entrance into Aries, where he's going to hang out for until the spring of 2028, full time. And it's going to give us a huge difference of energy compared to the Pisces stay. And you've done some research into Saturn and taken him out of the harsh, masculine, constrictive, stern, stoic taskmaster. And I'd love to hear what you think, not only about Saturn's more feminine side and some of the lost knowledge of Saturn, but also how that might play out in a fire sign and in a pioneering sign and in a sign of war, in a place where Saturn is known to be quite uncomfortable. In fact, he's called fallen here in the ancient tradition. So I'd love to give you the mic and let you give us some thoughts about all of it.
Oh, what a delight. Just too much fun to be legal, really. You know, Saturn. Hi, good to be on good terms with Saturn, right? So Saturn, wow, very important. So, we've got this idea that started a lot, well, somewhat Hellenistic, but I think even more in the Middle Ages, right? And, you had the Vatican and the Pope. They still have the greatest selection of astrological books probably anywhere. Don't you wish you would be a fly on the wall in the Vatican and the library?
Absolutely. I mean, let's face
Right?
it, that there's a lot of lost knowledge packed in that
Right?
library.
Right? And so, they had a fair amount of influence because they had a lot of influence on a lot of things, including even the glyphs were changed. Some of the glyphs, the glyph that's more like an equidistant cross for the directions and other things you and I know. But all of a sudden looks more like a resurrection shape. But
I didn't know that. I didn't know that it had been
yeah,
more of like this cross instead of this cross at the top of the gun.
yeah. Isn't that interesting? And that's not subtle. You and I know that's a very big difference.
Hmm.
You know, so lots of differences. So even when we're making the glyphs, we need to in my opinion, we need to be fully present and aware with our bodies. What am I doing here? Is this the glyph? What does this mean? What does this mean? What is my intention? Right? So it's
Hmm.
not surprising that some of the planets got a bad rap, Saturn, and I have a lot of artwork in my presentation, but we've all seen these pictures of Saturn looking like he's gonna kill you any minute, and Saturn about to kill a baby, and I mean, the stuff of nightmares, right? This decrepit old guy who just does not mean any good, right? And wow, that a lot of that was influenced by the Vatican and the Catholic Church.
Hmm.
Very interesting. And yet when you go way, way back, right? And a lot of native elders know this around the world. You probably know this. About every 9 years, there's an international meeting of native elders from around the world talking about important stuff, right?
Hmm.
And one of the things they did is they put out their definition for the word culture. Our definition is mixed up with civilization. That's a different word. That's like urbanization, right?
Oh,
But culture, to cultivate, is like to nourish, right?
right.
The earthy definition of the elders is the original agreement about how to live in harmony with the land.
Mm.
And that's what Saturn is about.
Oh, so very
Yeah.
earth-based energy.
Yeah. I'll seem to go off and off, but I'll always come back, right?
Yeah.
Always, it's the feminine way, right? The circle. So we're
Well, and
coming
that,
back to the
yeah, and
land.
that equidistant cross, like the four directions in a medicine wheel, or the four directions of reality, or the four elements of reality. So you lose that
Yes.
kind of sense of the balance when you take it up here.
Yes. Do you remember Angela's Arian? You
Oh
probably
God,
do.
I loved her
I knew
stuff.
her. She spoke at my ordination as an interfaith minister at the Presidio Church in San Francisco. It's just a
Hmm.
beautiful place. You can see all the bay. She was wonderful. Got to know her, right? And so she talked about, remember that delicious book she did on the symbols? And
I
one of the
had that
courses,
book on my shelf for
of course you
years, guys.
do.
It is, and it's just an incredible,
Yeah.
like self-diagnostic tool to.
Yeah.
You just gotta pick which symbols you're drawn to, and then you get the sort of the vibe of where you're at any given time. Yeah.
I don't know where your copy is, but your copy just spoke to me. That's why I said that.
Yes, it's long gone. I gave it away in one
Okay.
of my massive travel book giveaways. I always move and I give a ton of my stuff
Well,
away.
somebody's got it and it's still lighting up because it still loves you. Just
Oh, that's so
letting
wonderful.
you know.
I use it a
And
lot.
she was just smiling at
So
us.
yeah,
You
shapes
know,
have meaning. Shapes have meaning.
yeah. And she loves this. This is the kind of stuff that she's still here. She wants us to like she's very much here. Okay. So what way before the Greeks, right? We had the Mesopotamian cultures, right? And we had, wow, when you go back to the cosmic mothers. Later on, when the goddesses began to lose power, they
Mhm.
began to chop them up and go, this one is in charge of this one is in charge of this. Not in the beginning. The cosmic mother is in charge of everything. Nobody understands that like an Aries, and you're a double Aries, because this is the first time. You are the cosmic mother, right? I've only got the Aries moon. You got both.
Mhm.
But I got the North Node, so I get to cheat a little. I think it's a wonderful sign. But we'll talk about that even more, right? Stay tuned, right? So we've got back to the Cosmic Mother. One of the first that was ever written about, Tiamat, Tiamat, Tiamat. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting that it's got the word Mot in it? Do you remember who Mot was in the Egyptian tradition?
The scales and the feather.
Yes.
Yeah.
And usually, I think it's M-A apostrophe A-T. And just like with my name, O'Connell, nobody knows whether to put the apostrophe or how to pronounce it, right? Another
Yeah.
one of those Irish names, right? Oh, tough. But Ma'at, really, I think it's Ma'at. But it's interesting, Tiamat, so telling us that ancient connection.
Mm-hmm.
And what's that connection to? It's to life itself. So one of the first, if not the first, cosmic mother goddesses, way back, way primordial, way before. I love Hellenistic astrology and Hellenistic stuff, but way before that, if we may say. And as you know, and I know, and we talked about earlier on, when there's a war, whoever the victor is usually rewrites the history according to, their slant on it. That's just kind of the way of the world, right? So we don't hear too much about the Mesopotamian spin on things. Here's a little tidbit. So things are going along pretty well. She has a consort because she's independent, and she has her first golden-haired baby that she loves the most, and he's named Ninurta. We call him a Saturn now.
Ah.
Ninurta, Ninurta, Ninurta. And he precedes all the other kids. So he's the oldest and helps out and loves his mom, helps his mom out. Things go along pretty peacefully. And then somebody comes along from another land. And you know what they do? They really mess with things. Tiamat and Ninurta had the job of preserving the tablets of life, the original rules about how to live right.
Mm.
And don't you know this guy named Marduk came along and stole it. And boy, were they upset. They got it back. They stole it again. It happened several times. And eventually, Marduk prevailed. Marduk is known as Jupiter. It's very interesting. I have not had the good fortune to travel in the Middle East, but my friends who live there or who have say there's lots of temples still, that are named for Jupiter, but very rarely do you run into a temple, an ancient temple that's named for Saturn. So history was already beginning to be rewritten in favor of Jupiter.
Yeah,
Marduk.
and is it my mismemory? But didn't Saturn rule over some sort of golden age?
Exactly. So this was the first golden age. Your
Hmm.
memory, as usual, is excellent. This was the first golden age, right? It was the golden age. And it's interesting you mentioned gold because you're so intuitive and so tuned into gems, I know. And you love gems.
I do love gems.
What do you think of the Hellenistic Saturn? What metal or gem do you think of?
For some reason, I want to go to lead.
Absolutely. Lead is the classic. But it was gold and lapis.
Oh my God, it got downgraded.
He got a big downgrade, right? It would be like he owned his own airline and then somebody took it over and put him in economy.
Jeez. Okay, that's interesting.
His
And by
legs
the
are
way,
much too long for economy.
yeah, I'm learning all this too late. Saturn on my ascendant, guys, and so yeah, this is cool. I'm loving this story.
Saturn just left my ascendant because I got the Pisces ascendant, right? Yeah, yeah. So I just had that third Saturn opposition. What a trip. The same tooth went out for each one of them. I had to get a dental implant.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
time I had
Saturn
my
loves to
Saturn
tinker with
opposition.
the teeth. Loves to tinker with the teeth.
Yeah, isn't it great? So of course Tiamat and Ninurta, what are we going to do about it? So there was a lot of war for a long time to get the tablet back. Some people think that that's the tablet that the Ten Commandments were written on.
I was wondering that. That already popped in my mind. It reminds me of the Ten Commandments.
Nobody's found it yet, but they think it still exists. And
Hmm.
another thing that's really trippy, when we go back to these ancient languages like, Akkadian and all this, for some of them, we really don't have people who speak them anymore. But AI is figuring them out and then teaching us.
Oh, that's one of the things I love is the ability for AI to more fluently be able to translate
Yeah,
ancient languages and give us more,
yeah,
exacting meaning, including
yeah.
talking to animals. But we'll get that aside for now, understanding what they're saying.
Oh, yeah, we'll come
Yeah,
back to
I
that
think that's
another
where AI will
session.
get
Yeah,
going. But so
yeah,
really, we're seeing Saturn coming from a kind of golden age, more
yes,
creation goddess working in harmony with the mother
yeah,
archetype,
yeah,
cultivating and stuff like that. All of a sudden, getting moved into the mire of you say the Middle Ages. Yeah, there's a lot of like the Grim Reaper, like the sort of
yes,
Baphomet, the goaty
yes.
bad guy. I mean, he gets mixed up with almost demonic energy.
Absolutely. There's the church again, right? And of course, they changed the name Saturn to Satan, just like
Mm.
they took the part of spirit and changed which was daimon into demon.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, whoa, whoa, whoa. Demetra George
Yeah,
talks a lot about the,
yeah,
the the loss of the meaning of daemon
yeah.
and becoming demon instead. Yeah,
Bernadette Brady. Bernadette Brady talks a lot about
she
that.
does too, and so
Yeah,
does Demetra George.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Both of them wonderful. Love both of them. Yeah, it's great. So again, going way back to the ancient. So lapis and gold. So he was something. So Ninurta had two major implements. One was a sickle, like a scythe, right,
Mhm.
for cultivating, and the other was a club. And they were both made out of lapis and gold. What does lapis look like to you? It's
It looks
dark
like blue. It
blue
looks dark blue with marbles sometimes.
and it has
Marble.
golden specks. Does
Yep.
that remind you of the night sky?
Yeah, it sure does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Deep blue
And
with golden specks.
and
Yeah.
they were, of course, alive. They were his buddies, and he would give them a command and said go here and do this. The magical sickle, and everything was alive because you know it was still magic all the time.
Mm.
And he worked a lot with what we call in the ancient world. Do you know what the three sisters, the scientific sisters, are in the ancient world? You
You
do. I
mean
know you
you don't
do.
mean the three fates?
The three, no, that's fun to talk about. We'll get into that
There's
later.
three. Oh, there's three science
The
sisters?
three sciences, the three major sciences that grew into later on chemistry and all that in the modern world.
Well, certainly it would be astronomy. It would have to be one of
Astrology,
astrology, astronomy is the same thing back then.
yep, astrology, astronomy, alchemy, and magic.
Ah,
These are the three sisters of science of the ancient world that evolved into chemistry and blah, 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 blah,
mm-hmm.
right? Of course, right? And he was working with all three with Tiamat. So there was a lot of blood for a long time because they were trying to get those tablets back. They did not succeed, and that's why he got downgraded and all that stuff happened. But in the meantime, Tiamat and Ninurta did some very interesting things because they could see that there might be some trouble ahead, because of the war. And there was a lot of bloodshed, and a lot of gods and goddesses died trying to get those tablets back and do the right thing. Very Saturn phrase, do the right thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know? And so Tiamat said, I want you to create the ocean. I want you to create an ocean. So there's actually three oceans, though. Did you know that? You did. We all know
Well,
it
I
in
start.
science.
Well, let's think about that. There's the Pacific, the Atlantic, and is it like what's the next one?
The first ocean is the ocean in the sky where Aquarius and Pisces is. And
Okay,
Cetus and all that. It's the Egyptians called that the ocean, the sea.
okay.
And
Oh, of
traveling
course,
with
it's the water
vessels.
bearer. I know it definitely has. Yeah,
That's why the water
Aquarius.
bearer.
Mm-hmm.
It's the sea of Chi, of Akasha. It's the magical sea. The Egyptians called the celestial sea, so they remember it from way back. It's the celestial sea. And Cetus, the whale, and the whole area between Aquarius and Pisces. Magical to see. So Tiamat said, I want you to take your sickle and open it up. Open up that's the first sea. And then they created the second sea. And then they created a third sea underneath the earth. Did you know we just found it about 6 months ago?
I saw that there was new under Earth discoveries to do with the sea. Yes.
400 miles under. They're in Botswana. They're pulling up diamonds with ocean water in them.
Wow.
We have science. We have the science now and stuff to measure it. It's true. I mean, it's Scientific American stuff. It's definitely happening, right? So were they right about their three oceans? They were right about there were three
Mm.
oceans. Wow, right? So, and you know how sacred it is when you walk along you're near the ocean. I'm 2 blocks. I can hear the ocean right now. I'm 2 blocks from the Pacific.
Yeah, I'm 2 blocks. Well, I'm like 8 blocks now. I moved, but yeah, I'm close to
Okay,
the
I
ocean.
could actually hear the ocean. So like when you're barefoot and you're walking in that magical area between where the waves come in and the sand, and you
Mm-hmm.
can walk over to somebody and say, "Oh, look at that cave or that rock," right? And you can see the brackish water. That's the brackish water where the which is magical, as you know, where the river spills into the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
The sand feels different. It's not
Mm-hmm.
exactly sand, it's not exactly soil. But it's special, like the Nile, when it's flooded, it's special. It's
Mm-hmm.
magical. It's got healing properties. So Tiamat said, Ninurta, here's what I want you to do. We need help. We don't have enough help now because so many have died. And a lot of the blood was spilled in this sacred land around that brackish water. You go there and you start forming a new race. We're going to call them human, like hummus, HU, which means earth. It's
Right.
hummus, human. I want you to make little sculptures of humans and then breathe magical, breathe life into them. And they're not going to be gods, but some of them will have some godlike qualities because they have the blood of gods in them.
Mm-hmm.
There is something different. They will need to eat. Therefore, the sickle. You're going to need to show them what cultivation is, what culture is, what real cultivation in harmony with the land means. And that's how the human race got started.
Mm.
Saturn, so important to life itself. And so I think that Saturn in Aries is a wonderful thing in many ways. Yes, I do. Do I think that Aries is a misunderstood sign? Yes, I do. Aries is the first sign. It's the most reverence for life. It's the bulb, that pushes its way through frozen soil to bring us life every spring.
Exactly. No, it is definitely that vernal equinox energetic is like the fresh, the new, and sometimes the fragile.
So here we are. Let's say, Lori, for obvious reasons to you, when you hear this, let's say we're emerging from the Gilded Age to a new age. We know what the Gilded Age is because we just relived it again. Right?
Yep.
And we're coming into a new territory. Aries, the first sign, the beginning of a what? New cycle. We know that as astrologers. Saturn in Aries. Yes, what's the structure for the new cycle?
Well, but even so, I mean, Saturn, Aries, no big deal. Every 30 odd years. I mean, it's that Andre Barbeau. What are we doing with the Neptune, Uranus, Pluto trine, in which Saturn becomes complicit?
The whole picture.
Yeah, the big picture, it makes this incredibly unusual.
Yes. So what do you think about how does that contribute to Saturn and Aries?
This new formation in our sky? Or do you mean just Saturn and Aries? Because Saturn and Aries at 0 degrees with Neptune goes back roughly 6,000 years at that degree. But, 1703 and I can't remember exactly, 13 something, just to have them together is rare enough. But I mean, to me, seeing that they're kind of timing it with like, especially the Neptune feature. And to me, Neptune always opens transdimensional doorways. I mean, if you're going to get to interdimensional beings or the multiverse and you're figuring out that it's Saturnian and it's real, just at a very high level, we'll probably see some incredible new discoveries that we're not alone. And Uranus says maybe they're interterrestrial, and Neptune says interdimensional, in my view. And I think that Saturn shows us what's real. And it's also, to me, what I think too, Katherine, I think we're so stupidly stupid because I can't hear what a dog can hear, and I can't see what, like, say, a frog or an eagle can see. Like, I have limited range of motion, limited range of vision, limited range of hearing. So my perceptual apparatus, although like you, I've seen ghosts and stuff, whatever, I have a bit of a wider range of perception than the average Joe, just by genetics or something. Yeah. But our perceptual range is so limited that we just deny what's there because we can't see it, we can't hear it, we can't touch it. I kind of feel like the new era that's opening up is that where we can now finally acknowledge, for some reason, what we can't see, hear, and touch.
Beautiful. Perfect. Beautifully put, as usual. Yeah. And that's kind of how we got here. That's another version that most of us haven't heard.
How do you feel about Saturn's role in this new storyline over the next few years, around more traditional ways that Saturn can play out as a sign, in a sign that leads to usually war and conflict, notwithstanding clause, this beautiful mini grand trine of outer planets, and knowing that historically when Neptune has been, like, say, in Aries, the United States went to civil war, for example, and the United States is having a Uranus return. So just for some of that more mundane thing, do you feel that it's going to be particularly different than it has been in the past because of that more outer planet triangle infusion?
I think we got an opportunity here for it to be different. Because I think we're going to have what they say in Chinese medicine, fresh eyes,
Fresh eyes. I love that. I like that. With the 3-eye atlas, I'm recording our session on December 12th. So she and I this will come out in early January. We haven't lived through December 19th's close approximation pass. And by the time we get to December 26th, this particular asteroid, not comet, but whatever, spaceship, will be on Regulus on December 25th at Christmas Day. The Star of Kings, now currently at 0 Virgo in our tropical zodiac. I find that fascinating that there's a close approximation to our planet, that we're activating the energies of, the 0 Virgo coming into play. And it's another, in tropical zodiac, any 0 number is going to end up being like a new beginning, just like 0 Aries, the world axis for Saturn. And having this very powerful fixed star, Royal Persian star, activated, associated with Archangel, I always forget which one, it's Raphael. It's powerful. We're coming into something here. Like, there's another 0 touch point at Christmas just after the solstice.
And let's remember, Raphael is the archangel of healing.
Exactly. And associated with the balance of divine masculine and feminine in the lover's card in the tarot.
Yes. Yes. And when I was referring to fresh eyes, I was Chinese medicine. I was also thinking, I used to teach Chinese medicine. It's kind of nice to use it as a metaphor too. So there's a thing in Chinese medicine with each sense, hearing, sight, all of it, of yin and yang, like yin and yang viewing, yin and yang hearing. We know what yang viewing is. It's we usually like we do most of the time. We go out and grab an image. It takes a lot of effort. That's why a lot of
Mm.
us need eyeglasses. It takes a lot of effort. But so what is yin viewing? Yin viewing is more like, when you're walking in a forest and you're really relaxed and you can see the shafts of light and how pretty they are coming through the branches. And if you're really relaxed, you could see little particles swimming around in the shafts of light. You know what I mean.
Oh gosh, absolutely. Yeah.
And when you're really relaxed, you can see that. That's yin viewing. That's the image coming to you without you making an effort. You know
Hmm.
what happens physically to the eyeball when that happens? The eyeball is so rested, so relaxed that it rests on the orbital socket. It doesn't need effort. And it
Wow.
sits in the fluid of the orbital socket and bathes in the fluid.
I love that. I
Isn't that
love
wonderful?
that. Yeah, I would say that the more aggressive masculine viewing is probably hypervigilant viewing, right? It's always out there scoping the landscape. You know what I mean? Whereas the yin is in that safe, relaxed space for seeing beyond seeing beyond what's necessarily obvious at the
Yeah,
first glance as well.
yeah. The
Well, in
yang viewing
astrology,
is a lot like those cartoons with the people with the bulging eyes.
yeah, the bulging eyes,
And it kind of
exactly.
like our FBI director, with Graves' disease.
Gosh, Patel, I think
Yeah.
he's traumatized.
Well, it's a sign of trauma. And he
It
has
is a
Graves'
sign.
disease, which is like constant trauma.
Oh
It's
God,
very
yeah, yeah,
unfortunate
yeah. Well, as soon
where
as you see the
your
whites of the
adrenals
eyes
are
underneath,
overdrive.
like underneath the iris, you see the whites, like then that
Yes,
person's got either brain injury or like psychological
yes,
trauma.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
he looks terrified all the time.
Yes, and with hearing, yin and yang hearing, we usually do yang hearing. We go out and grab a sound or grab the music. But when you're really relaxed and it feels like the music is coming over you like a wave, that's
Hmm.
yin hearing.
Mm. It's interesting. This time that we're living in, I'm so happy I'm still here to talk, to go through this experience that I when I was a child, very very young, and we're talking about Saturn, guys, but like with Saturn, we'll be hooking up with Uranus and Neptune and Pluto next year in flowing energy fields. And I always had a vision, a really clear vision, that I was going to live through the first acknowledged extraterrestrial moment. I'm talking a little kid, right? Like, which is like not my thing when I'm really like 9 or 10. I just knew that was going to happen. And this idea of this particular cometary body that's moving through our solar system, kind of a precursor to Saturn's ingress into Aries, but nonetheless, it started off by being visible in the sidereal Sagittarian sky, and has been circling retrograde right through Virgo and Leo right now, Virgo into Leo. And I just feel like those signs have been awakened, right? The energy of the archetypes of those signs in the sidereal, but it overlaps with also the tropical zodiac as well. So we have particular sidereal and tropical archetypal signs that have been enlivened by this celestial body because we're in a matrix and this is a simulation of some sort. It's all a code. I don't think it's a being. I think it is some kind of craft, I think.
Yeah.
But it is, I'll be remote viewing on it tomorrow for the first time. I haven't done it. And yet at the same time, the places it go, wherever you go, the places it travels through, the stars it overlaps like Regulus at Christmas. And the planets it comes close to. And I never, ever come across Heather Ensworth anymore on YouTube. She used to be in my recommendations. And I just saw
Yeah.
her on Amelia Ortez, and she made some really good points that I like. She's very grounded. And she talked about, well, fly by Venus, fly by Mars, fly by the sun, fly by Earth, fly by Jupiter. And the suggestion that there isn't so much like dispensing probes as much as some kind of like almost energetic frequency initiation of those planets by a body that comes from outside our solar system. And you're going to love this, Katherine. Love
Oh boy.
this. I'm going to tell you, this is mind boggling. There are a bunch of asteroids clustered around the new moon on November 19th. One of them is Asteria, and she has to do with the myth of Zeus and trying to get after her, the rapey Zeus, and then she escapes. Anyway, she becomes associated with the stars. Varda, a creation goddess associated with the stars. Huya, a rainmaking god of an indigenous tribe his real name means from beyond the sun. And
Wow.
Gaia. All 4 asteroids are bundled within a degree or two of the new moon in Sag. And the new moon in Sag, at the end of Sag, right? Sag, where we have this incredible, where the scientists think this thing came from the Sag zone, right? The heart of the Milky Way. And here we have Gaia and 2 star asteroids and an asteroid that means literally from beyond the sun. This is a matrix. This is a simulation. This is like, it's just so literal.
I think you'll see some of that highlighted if you look at the chart of the moment of our meeting.
Oh
Our
gosh.
12
Well,
noon
yeah.
chart today.
Yeah. Those asteroids are really at close proximity to the sun already. And the moon
also the planets and where the midheaven is and stuff for our meeting today.
Yeah. We'll have to look at the exact
I always do the chart of the moment. But and let's circle back in a true feminine way, the circle. Let's circle back to what we were saying about Saturn and Nerda. And remember his sickle, and he's asked by his mom, Tiamat, to open the heavens. So he gives the direction to a sickle, throws the sickle to open the heavens. So here's something kind of like a comet or maybe a spaceship coming at the sky and opening it. That's what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So what was that story really about and really prefiguring?
Yeah.
Are we coming full circle?
Quite possibly we're coming full circle. The thing I learned today that I didn't really connect a dot to ever before was the biblical story of the 10 Commandments and how that really is maybe a Saturnian story from the or more ancient Sumerian mythology. And the idea that it is so ancient that there was a code, a life code for, let's call it harmonious behavior.
Yes.
And to me, that code isn't so much a rule book. I think that code, I'm going to say it because I'm going to sound like a real nutcase, but I think it's a genetic code.
Yeah.
And I do think that the book of life with the code in which you're naturally inclined to do no harm is a code that was interfered with.
And that some people, biblical scholars, or no, not biblical scholars, but let's say religion scholars, like John Houston, who passed away some years ago, who I got to meet.
I remember him.
Yes, I got to present interfaith honorary degrees to a lot of people like that. So I was so lucky, traveling around doing that. It was just so much fun, ridiculous fun. But at any rate, if we go back to some of the stories, I think we get that these themes that come up in a lot of the stories that are very much like this Ninurta story. And I think we've been recreating it at various points. And when all these planets come into Aries is the natural place, combined with some of the other configurations that you mentioned earlier, to kind of have a redo for the creation story.
A reset for the creation. Reset. Yeah, we need it. We need it. I kind of feel like the vilification of Saturn is to dispossess us of any real connection to what would have and it can be an archetype of wholeness. And I know that in your own research, you've done a lot of studying into the Saturn return and Saturn opposition cycles. And I've done a bit myself. I mean, just coming off of some Vedic knowledge where, there's a tendency for the second Saturn opposition to become a real initiation into one's true calling and purpose and more of a connection to, the raison d'etre for your incarnation here.
Yes.
And I really noticed that in my own life, that like there's your Uranus opposition and then the next thing you know, you have a second Saturn opposition and suddenly your whole life, if you're available for it, because some people get through their Saturn opposition around 40 years old and then midlife crisis and they just crumble under it, right? But then Saturn comes along and he's like, here we're okay, let's pick up some pieces here. And one of the hacks I've learned in my life with my clients is I often get them to go back to the first Saturn opposition and
Good.
compare the age and the events of the age to the events of the second Saturn opposition, because you're going to find like a seed and a flower. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I see it very much that way. As a matter of fact, in my presentation, I follow Bruce Springsteen's chart,
Oh, wonderful. Oh, yeah.
which is,
So, just so everyone knows, she's a presenting, teaching, lecturing, scholarly, psychologically oriented astrologer, but you're presenting in the Boston chapter on December 13th.
yes.
And I'm hoping that presentation on Rewilding Saturn is going to be available for resale on your website. Will that be there for people to get?
And it'll be available on the NCGR website too. So
That's perfect.
NCGR Boston tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
It would be 9 o'clock Pacific time. Be there or
Well,
be square. And
I,
if you
I
can't
might
be there, buy the replay.
I would be there if I didn't have a client in the morning, but I'll tell you one thing I will be doing is getting the copy of that right away. And so when you guys
Yeah.
listen to this on YouTube land, although I will have this on my Patreon community before that, definitely get that, because I want, given like what I get from you is the depth of your study level or your intellect with what you're approaching and learning from. I only learn from you. So in your own life, because you had your third Saturn return, you said, or opposition.
Oh, that not yet, but that's in the late 80s.
You're on
But
your
I've had
third
my
Saturn
third
opposition.
opposition.
Okay, so
I'm
third
just
Saturn
coming out of my
opposition.
third opposition in the early 70s. So I'm
Okay.
going to be 76 in January.
Okay, she doth divulge her age. Okay.
No, I'm fine.
That's
So
wonderful.
I'm just coming out of my third, and let's remember, my third opposition means it goes over my ascendant because I've got the Pisces ascendant. So
Right.
it's a double, a big deal, right? And really exciting. It's when I decided to come out, if you will, in public as an astrologer. I kept it private all those years because I had a very public career as a psychologist and an author in psychology. And, I was a consultant to President Carter and the White House and all of that kind of stuff. And you couldn't do both in public for many years, in the world I was functioning in, particularly on the East Coast and all that.
Well, and
And
also
now I'm in my
in the
70s,
era
and who cares?
in which you were becoming an astrologer in the hidden cave of secrecy. I mean, now it's becoming so much more globally
Yeah,
acceptable at some level. I mean,
yeah,
even to the point the types of clients I've attracted compared to say 8 years ago, you'll get like CEOs coming in asking for business guidance astrologically because they know
yes,
it's going to work somehow, right? It does, but
yes.
it's somehow shifted a collective shift of acceptability. I don't know how it happened.
Yes, yes. And some of those same people might not want it known publicly that they're going to an astrologer still.
Oh, that's
So,
true.
yeah,
That
that's the
is true.
piece that I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
was running around the world promoting my books that had to do with alcohol and drug abuse and cognitive, stuff that I was skills that I was training people all over the world. But I was in a very conservative world when I was in Washington and stuff, and a psychoanalytic world for the first 20 years or so of my career, way back when. And you didn't combine those two then
Hmm. Hmm.
publicly,
Yeah,
right?
but well, Carl Jung did, but he had his feet in the astrological world as well.
Do you know today if you and I did a survey of therapists who would consider themselves to be Jungian? By the way, he hated that term. He didn't want anyone to be Jungian because he wasn't Jungian. He didn't want
Right.
some people to model after him. He couldn't stand that term. But anyway, so if you went to therapists who consider themselves to be Jungian, most of them had no idea that he was involved with astrology.
I know. I know
Still.
the secret hidden truths, right?
Yeah,
Secret hidden
yeah.
truths. He was
And
quite
he
astrological.
made arrangements with his more radical books like the Red Book to not be published until 50 years after his death.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, he was, aware.
He was aware. So I'm really
When
curious.
he had his second Saturn opposition in his mid-40s, he had a heart attack.
Mm,
And that's when, at that time, when you had a heart attack, you had to be on bed rest. Not now, but then you did.
yeah.
So he was in bed a lot and dreaming a lot. And that's what angels, he had a lot of
Oh,
visitations.
that's
And
perfect that you're bringing that up.
yeah,
Dreaming.
stuff that he couldn't talk about then.
I was going to segue right to that. It's funny, this morning's video for YouTube, I talked in my outro about the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi saying, get to bed before 10, first train, 11, the latest train, in order to get the most amazing dreams. I'm a big dreamer and a prophetic dreamer and other stuff. So I'm always in bed by 10. Had some cool dreams last night. But what I wanted to ask you about in particular, because I know that like the only other place where I truly learned astrologically how actively, like how my dreamscape is a mirror of the skyscape, was from Ren Butler of the Archetypal Universe, my teacher back in 2021, which
Great book.
totally, no, he's a good friend. It changed my life. It was like, oh my God, because all of a sudden I could even go back to dreams I'd had, because we did this in his class like 30 years ago. So I have dream journals, right? Keep all my dream journals. And I'm like, okay, look at the sky, look at the dream, look at the archetypes of the dream, look at the archetypes of the current sky relative to my natal sky. Kaboom.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question then.
Mm-hmm.
You and I know that there's a free app for planetary times. So you can go, oh my God, I went to bed Wednesday, Mercury's day,
Yep.
and I woke up at 3 though, Thor's day, Jupiter's day, and at 3:15 I had the following dream. And you could look up the planet,
The
the
planetary
planetary hour.
hour. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
suggest adding that. So I've got a thing I call the Astro Dream Journal, which is what I'm presenting on at UAC.
Are you selling it as a real, like, touch it? What, you can hold it, or is it a concept?
I'm actually creating a digital one, and maybe even because people really like journals to
People
be.
love paper. I think you should create a real one.
I think I should too. Thank you. So they asked me to present on this, which surprised the hell out of me. I'm delighted, you know. So I've been doing this for years. Again, the science going full circle. What are the three sisters? You know, alchemy, magic, and astrology, astronomy, all working together, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's what we call chemistry now and physics. It's all those sciences from ancient times. And you look it up and you go, oh my God, it's Jupiter's hour. And then you look at your transits again and you go, oh my God, Jupiter's sitting right on Neptune right now. Or that, like, oh my, it's even more of an eye opener, you know?
It's a total eye opener, guys. So if once you learn the archetypes of the planets, and then so you know what they mean, like what they represent, you know, because Jupiter can be knowledge or wisdom or some overlording authority figure, for example, on the Olympian top of the mountain. But what's interesting to me is that when I did it with Ren's very strictly archetypal, and he doesn't want to look at houses. And I'm finding no. The
Oh,
houses are
okay.
embedded in the dreamscape. There's 12 houses. Each house has a meaning. Like, and technically, like the fourth house is like your midnight hour, you know, or the IC is the midnight hour, the darkest night of the sky. And so, like, the dreams are relative to the archetypes of the IC, the midheaven, the descendant, the ascendant, and or the 12 houses. So you can
Yes.
keep layering it. But the thing is it's so revelatory because it's really your imaginal realm in the dream state, the theta state, telling you what the sky is trying to tell you too. So if you didn't even study astrology, there's still another way the messages are coming through.
Yes. And that which is archetypal and metaphorical is also very literal, particularly when it has to do with physical health of the body.
Can you give me an example of that?
Yes, and gem prescriptives. I'm very involved with gems, but in a
Okay.
different way than the books, because I disagree with a lot of the stuff I read.
Okay.
But like for instance, what I'm wearing right now, I don't know if you can see this. Can you see what this is?
No, and is it look like rose quartz? I can't see for sure.
It
But
does look like rose
yeah.
quartz. It's pink sapphire.
Oh, pink sapphire. Okay.
So you know how they say, particularly in, sapphire is a stone of blue sapphire is a stone of Saturn, wear in the middle finger. Not everybody wears every gem well. I had people Vedic readings say that. I don't wear blue sapphire well. You
Mm-hmm.
could tell if people are wondering, get the gem and put it under your pillow and see how you sleep.
Yeah. Remedy stones. Yeah, but
Yeah.
feel into whether.
So at any rate, but I wear a pink sapphire, so I've got a combination of Venus and Saturn, softening
Mm,
the Saturn.
mm-hmm.
Friday, Venus, the day of Venus, Freya. Saturday, the day of Saturn. What day is today?
Right now
Venus's
we're on
day.
Venus's day, Friday.
Why am I wearing? We're talking about Saturn, and I'm wearing Venus, Saturn. Say, I
Mm.
love you both. Let's work it hard. Let's play nice together.
Yeah, yeah. So have you ever had an incredibly synchronistic moment with one of your dreams connected to the sky about a health issue that you could like say, oh wow, that like I'm dreaming of the
Yes,
dentist. Saturn's moving
yes.
through. I mean, what
Well,
kind of.
that's a great example because I was told that the same tooth. So when I was in my first Saturn opposition, like about 14, about the time I discovered astrology and I was initiated into magic, this tooth had a lot of trouble. It's a front tooth. You got to deal with it, you know?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
and so but it's delicate because it's kind of a little front tooth. And so they did a whole thing, a whole dental thing. But they said, this is kind of fragile. It's your front tooth, be real careful about this, whatever. And the second Saturn opposition, when I was in my mid-40s, changed my life. Just like everything you said about the same second Saturn opposition, I agree with.
Hmm.
And and I had a dental implant put in.
Yeah.
And it went through a whole thing about the same time as that opposition. Again, remember the Saturn, when it's opposed for me, goes over my ascendant Pisces and opposes itself. Saturn in what? Virgo, health,
Yeah.
so it's got
Yeah.
something with health shows up, right? And then and now the third Saturn opposition, which I'm just coming out of, right?
Yeah.
It happened again. I had some kind of a little subclinical infection in the bone for that implant. I didn't even know it was subclinical. Didn't
Wow.
no symptoms. And I went in for a routine dental cleaning and stuff. And the dentist said, this tooth is a little wiggly. And I said, oh, okay. He said, but it shouldn't be wiggly because it's an implant. There's a problem. I better
Mhm.
take an x-ray. I said, okay. He said, oh my God, look at the infection in there. Do you have any
Wow.
symptoms? I said, no. He said, well, it's subclinical. We've got to scrape the bone, give you some antibiotics, and do a graft and let the bone regrow. And it did. I got great bones. I'm, strong Saturn. That's one of the benefits, right? Strong
It's
bones.
so it's kind of funny with that because I have friends and clients galore, Pisces rising, and this last 3 years, Saturn moving through the sign of Pisces, I can count on like 10 fingers how many dental problems and
Yep.
teeth issues have
Yep.
gone through the world
Yep.
because that's Saturnian of my clients and friends and family who are Pisces. It's laughable. Okay, my Pisces rising sister has really strong teeth too. She was I could drink all the cow milk in the world as a kid, and she almost had only two cavities lifelong. Suddenly, Saturn's crossing her ascendant, and she has to have two teeth removed from infections that weren't even visible. You know what I'm saying? Like you. So it's like the sky is very literal. It does, it never surprises me when this shit happens. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And it's just part of the code of the sky, and I think that the dreaming into the sky, you and Ren Butler are the two people that I've noticed who really talk about it. And I think it's a really luscious area for research, but also for helping people. Once you understand the meanings of the planets, the archetype is a fancy word, like the symbolic, range of motion of a planet, what it covers, energetically. And then you apply that to your own chart and dreams. I think it can be very useful, not just psychological, spiritual work, but actually practical, useful for
I've
you.
got about 30 years of charts in studying dreams and health that says yes.
Okay,
It's
great.
one of
And
my areas of specialty. And
wonderful.
I had very specific dreams warning me about that tooth.
That's wonderful.
So it turns out, when I started, that's another whole story I don't have time for. But, Isis, we were talking about Ma'at a little while ago, Ma'at,
Mhm.
who is an aspect of Isis, having a
Okay.
lot to do with the seasons and keeping the stars in the sky so they don't fall down.
Yes.
That important. Gravity. Mod has to do with gravity, real important stuff. So, and a lot to do with health. And so I did some research on some of the ancient papyri to do with Isis. In my opinion, if what's his name? The ancient Greek Hippocrates. If Hippocrates was the Western daddy of medicine, Western medicine, then Isis was the mama,
Okay.
right? So Isis heals in the dream. I found several different ways. One, she can come herself and do the healing directly. Two, she can offer a healer from any time, past, present, or future. Three, she could offer a remedy. Do this or don't do this, a
I didn't.
prescriptive.
I didn't know that Isis had that energetic about her because there is an asteroid Isis that's fun to track.
Yes, it is.
Now, when you say she can heal in the dream realm with precision there, I suppose. I mean, are you saying that, because I've had that experience. I'll tell you the story, but here's the problem. I do not know exactly. I have all my dream journals stacked up in storage, right? Exactly when, and I lived in Washington, D.C., this happened, but it would have been like probably 1993. And my doctor was at Walter Reed. Yes, I had a doc at Walter Reed. She
Brings
was
back
at
some
Walter Reed.
memories.
I know. And I had this hard lump in my breast here. And it was like, I knew what to look for because I had fibrocystic. I was in my 30s, fibrocystic breast. And I knew that if it felt like a piece of sand or a pebble, I should be worried. And because I had been taught that by my doctor, and she sent me to a surgeon with a teaching breast, and I got all the info I needed. So I've been dealing with these really fibrocystic, too much estrogen in my system, dominance, breast tissue problems. And so I was used to that, but I knew this was different. And I was really anxious, and I couldn't get in to see her right away. It took a couple of weeks to get the appointment. Yeah. Which wasn't always the case, by the way. And in those 2 weeks, I'm sitting in the unknown, the liminal space between a diagnosis and non-diagnosis.
Oh, yeah.
And then I go to sleep the night before my doctor's appointment. I'm in my bed. There's a skylight with my husband. There's a skylight above the bed and the attic bedroom and, into the DC sky. And I had a dream that night that I perceived it as a UFO, but some kind of celestial object was floating above or flying above my skylight, and it zapped me with a beam of light. And the beam of light hit me here. And I woke up and I had the kind of red you have when you picked a scab, but the skin is healed over, like, so it's pink, but like
wow.
And then, and it was gone. It was gone. I called the doctor's office and canceled my appointment the same morning. There was nothing there. Is that crazy?
That's exactly. I've got so many instances of that. That's one of my specialties. Yeah, healing through dreams. I actually did my PhD on that back in like the early 70s.
My God.
Yeah,
I can't. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You guys, you had to see how long we were talking before we started recording, because she and I are like soul sisters. So I've had more than one dream and healing as well, but that was my most dramatic one. And to this day, get those journals out of storage. I'm pretty sure I have my DC era journal. Yes. I want to calibrate the sky. What was that,
So I have something I call the Healing Dreams series. We should do another show just on that because it's so important.
I would love to.
I'm going to talk about that at UAC. So the dreams, a number of dreams that are connected, you can see there's a connection. There's a symbol or something that connects them. Mm-hmm. And they have a story. They're telling a whole story. It could be even years. Could be a night, could be months, could be years. They tell a whole story about your purpose and about essential things about your life. Let me say one thing quickly about Isis. Isis, if you imagine, just look up a picture of Isis for people who are not sure what she looks like. Look up a picture of Isis, really get that in your mind, and picture that over your throat chakra as you're falling asleep. And she will help you. She will offer a healer from past, present, or future, or she'll come in directly, or she'll offer a remedy or a prescription of don't do this, do this. And I have lots of stories about that. That's one of the major things that I do.
That's exciting. So what we're hearing right now is the magical side of Katherine.
Astrology, alchemy, and magic.
I love it. I totally love that. And I love the simplicity of that. Don't have to believe. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But apply liberally to your throat chakra, Isis energy image, and imagine it's there. It's funny because, of course, then we get the vilification of even the word because of the supposedly ISIS terrorism situation. Yeah. It's almost like this.
I know. That's terrible. Yeah.
I know that, but I kind of wonder about that. Like, I almost feel like I've channeled a book called The Coming Age of Miracles, and I haven't put it quite into the world yet. But I mean, I feel like we're a species who have been interfered with. And we can call it whatever you want. The channeling called it the invasive presence. I think it's on the way out. I think it's like a cornered, wounded animal. The invasive presence. It's like it's like when you take the flowers out of the ground, cut them, but they have no real essential nourishment to thrive. They're going to like look alive for a while, but they're on a death watch. The invasive presence is on a death watch, but it's angry, it's scared, and it's like a cornered beast. And that's why we're seeing some of the most horrendous, and like the genocide in Gaza, horrendous things happening at the very tail end of this situation.
I agree. Totally. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I adore you. Oh my God.
I adore you.
Okay, we have a mutual love fest here, but you have to know it's rare to find another intellect like yours with also the spiritual depth, and that is like rare. It is so rare and it is so wonderful to meet you today. So we are recording on December 12th. So AI 3I Atlas will have come and gone close to Earth, still has to touch base with Jupiter next year. But if you, because we talked about it before, after you'll see this video,
Yeah.
but if you had to finish our conversation up today, if you had to say in your own world of intuitive, magical, mystical vibing with things, why do you think we're going through the experience of this third interstellar object now?
Pluto and Aquarius.
Ah, okay.
And it's sitting, by the way, right on my sun. It's sitting down, right on my natal sun. It's just sitting down. Its butt. It's right on.
Oh, so your sun is really in the midst of the old, eagle constellation, Aquila.
Yeah. Yes, it's right, kissing it.
Beautiful. Oh my God, that's wonderful. Altair and all.
I'll tear it all.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's beautiful. So you're really feeling this new energy coming in for the world.
And I find it very exciting. I find that Pluto is doing its wonderful digging job. And to me, if someone were to say, what is Aquarius to you? I would say that Aquarius is the ancient future, finding, and we need to go back to find out the ancient in order to glean the best from the ancient,
Mm.
in order to enhance, to make the future better.
I love that. Well, and because also Aquarius, the idea of this form, bearing a water bearer, kind of almost like a mysterious humanoid, maybe angelic being, you know what I mean? In the Aquarian archetype is there. And historically, and this is something that I did a little research on about 4 years ago, and then was part of my YouTube videos, and it was been noted by many astrologers, like lovely Dan Waits and what's her beautiful name?
Terrific.
Was it
Yeah.
Jessica Davidson, maybe? She's also good at research. Anyway, the idea is that often Pluto and Aquarius is meeting the other. And so it's like the others being the Spaniards meeting the Incas, like the completely othered people. Like,
Ah.
yeah, so it correlates to historical cross pollination of
Oh,
cultures.
there it goes again. Yeah.
Yeah, but now what are we being cross pollinated with? Because it's going to be Pluto not only until 2044, but for finally leaving Aquarius, but the research by my God, Nina, I can't remember her. Oh, Rosie Finn. I think it's
Oh,
Rosie
Rosie
Finn.
Fitch, she's wonderful.
She's
Yeah.
wonderful. She's the
Oh,
one who did the
yeah.
research on the correlation of Pluto out of bounds in the south declination. And that south declination out of bounds is now game on. It started on the
Very
29th.
important work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for the next decade, like every late summer into like late, fall into early winter, Pluto will continually go into the channel, untethered from the sun, so to speak, in the south declination, which is historically comparable to things like the Luther Protestant Reformation, breaking free of old power structures that dominate. It connects to the French and American Revolution. Like it connects to places where the structures that have been there that dominated over the people were then contrastingly, the people rose up and created their own new system. So there's that married with Pluto, maybe meaning we meet the other. Is the other an extraterrestrial, interdimensional? Is the other the
Yes.
AI
And
intelligence?
archetypally,
Yeah.
the other is ourselves, the part of ourselves we don't know enough, or we've suppressed, right?
Oh God, yeah.
The other inside us,
The other inside
right?
us, the other
What's
inside
there,
us,
right?
like the other inside us is timeless, spacious, vast awareness.
Hell yeah.
And we get locked into our little mind, our little thoughts. It's like the receptive seeing and hearing side of us is the true other, really.
And when Tiamat said to Ninurta, take your sickle and open up the sky, what part of the sky?
The sea.
Aquarius and Pisces.
Yeah. The water.
Aquarius and Pluto's in Aquarius.
Yeah.
Open up that part of the sky, send something to that consciousness, open up that part of consciousness, and it's happening now.
It's happening now. Well, the
Again.
Bible says that in those days, men will dream dreams, and that biblical quote about the time in which the third eye of humanity opens, and it's third eye atlas. It's a simulation, guys.
That's so cool. Oh my God. We think well together, you and I.
We do think well together.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Boy.
beyond delighted to have
Yeah.
this kind of conversation with somebody. I mean, it really was refreshing. We've got about 45 minutes, which is my classic guest spot
Perfect.
time frame. So I'm going to stop the recording, and then
Okay.
I'm going to my viewers will have an intro outro to this. So not
Okay.
yet
So they'll know
made.
how to contact me if they want to.
Yeah, and all your information will
Wonderful.
be in the description box
Oh, how
below. And in
delightful.
the intro, I'm going to also reintroduce all
What
your
fun.
information, how to get to her website, how to go to her classes, how to
Oh,
go do her
thank you.
amazing alchemy, dreams, and astrology and magic talk coming up in Chicago, September 3rd to the 9th at UWAC. Holy man, I'm going to try to get there myself because I'm such a lazy astrologer.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah, I would love to have coffee with you or wine,
Oh, are you kidding? It was
whatever
such
you
an
prefer.
honor. Yeah. I haven't been to Chicago in years. It's wonderful. The Art Institute of Chicago is an amazing place. That'd be a
Oh
fun
yeah,
place to
I
go this
haven't
weekend.
been to Chicago for quite a while, but usually when I'm there, I'm just passing through. So I mean, I've been two nights in Chicago at the most. Okay, so I definitely got to put that on my plate because just having a glass of wine, a coffee, getting together and chatting with
Oh,
you.
I'd love that. A lot of astrologers I haven't met because I was so busy being private.
Where do you
And
live
now
right now?
now I'm meeting them, like going to places like that. I'll meet them.
Are you in the United States? Is that where you're living?
No, but I mean, because I was private with my astrology.
No, but I'm asking where do you reside at this time?
Oh, I reside. You know where Humboldt County, California is?
No, wait, what's it called?
I'm on the coast in the Redwoods. I'm almost in Oregon on the coast.
Ah, right in the Cascadia Fault. Like,
Oh yeah, I'm always in a big fault. I get down.
oh, well, I
I
am
was in
too.
Santa
So
Cruz before this, so yeah, the answer is yes.
okay, all
So
right,
I'm about an
wonderful.
hour from Oregon, right on the Pacific coast in the Redwoods. It's beautiful.
Oh, that sounds amazing. That
Very
just sounds
quiet,
beautiful.
very,
Yeah.
very
No,
low key.
I'm already thinking of the vampire series Twilight as soon as you say that.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Watch out for the werewolves. So I'm so delighted to have had this conversation with you. I'm going to stop the recording so that I can say goodbye privately. And thanks for listening, guys, to all of you on my channel who probably are loving this.
Lunatic astrology.